What up, world? We back again. It's your boy Chuck Wick Ills, aka Charles Brown, back again with another review. But first, how you doing? You good? Good. All right. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh boy. Pusha T, Daytona. That's what we doing. I think this is the fastest review I ever got. What has been 2 days? This joint came out. Been a whirlwind, bro. Whirlwind. I think it came out on Friday. Today is Monday, and so much has happened from Friday to Monday, bro. Unless you lived under a rock, this is a good time for hip hop, for real. Very good. Daytona. We're gonna start from the beginning. Daytona is produced fully by Kanye West. Your boy Pusha said he had a bunch of beats from all over. Him and Ye listened to the album. It was called King Push at first, and then Ye listened to the whole album and scrapped it. Basically was like, I can do this better. They had already worked on this for mad long up in Wisconsin at some exclusive resort, and Pusha said he was paying half the bill, and the bill was crazy. So after all that recording, Ye, rightfully so. Now we're gonna get into Kanye in a minute, but rightfully so, decided to scrap all of that and produce it himself. Now we know, as history has shown us, when Ye produces someone else for himself, by himself exclusively, never mind the fact that he put it in a box of 7 tracks only, which means all the track is no filler. You can't have no filler when you're doing 7 tracks. Ye produced every track on Daytona, which Pusha changed the name to Daytona. And we have what could be argued is an instant classic. Now, you may have your reasons for saying otherwise. Maybe you not a Pusha T fan at all. Maybe you don't like drug raps. Maybe you don't like Kanye. Maybe you don't like Kanye beats. But at the end of the day, those that know, if you know, you know. This album, you're gonna be hard pressed to find somebody to say this album is trash. First of all, if you ain't saying it's trash, I don't care what you say. You can be whoever you want to be. You're not calling this trash. Now, you may say it's overrated, or you may say, oh, it was okay. You're not saying this is trash. If you say this is trash, you will have to turn in whatever card you were given to be a part of this thing of ours. You will be silenced for 2 years without even being able to conversate about the game of hip-hop. You will be sent back to day one, and you will be in training for a minimum of 2 years, listening to hip-hop, listening to classics, because this is real hip-hop. This is how it's supposed to be. Now, you ain't gotta like the subject matter, but you gotta like the flows. You gotta like the beats, and you gotta like the confidence. This guy, this is the embodiment of an MC. This is what MCs are built for. This is why we call them MCs, because they master the ceremony. They master their craft. They don't sound scared or they second guessing what they're saying. This guy is giving it to you raw, and it's unapologetic. This is real, bro. Now we're gonna get into real and what's not real. We're gonna get into all that. But what I want to start with is, let's start with Pusha T. Pusha T, which I didn't even know Pusha T, or Terrence, his real name is Terrence, was born in the Bronx and moved to Virginia Beach. I thought he was always from Virginia Beach in the first place, but him and his brother apparently were born in the Bronx and moved to Virginia Beach. That changes everything. This dude got the Bronx in his blood, bro. He got the Bronx in his blood, and that changes everything. It makes everything more clear. So, Pusha T, they came out as the Clipse. What happened to that boy, and Grinding, the joint produced by Neptunes. I think between the Clipse and Nori, the Neptunes became a household name for beat making and hooks and just overly exotic sounds, weird, sound like, you know, a little like you, this type of, they take that, make a beat. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, that's what the Neptunes have become. Pharrell and the other dude, I don't really know the other dude's name. Who knows this dude's name? The Asian dude. I don't know his name. But whatever. So the Neptunes put us on this ride of the Clipse, and it was hard to debate. It was hard to not acknowledge how dope the Clipse were. It was hard to say anything negative about the Clipse at any point. Now, you may not be into that particular style of rap, but you're not going to say they were whack. So we had No Malice, Pusha T, and a space and time where it allowed this type of style. I want to say the early 2000, 2001, all that era was very drug, coke, 99 through, you know, Ray and Ghost put a battery in it. They put a spark in the air. These eccentric drug raps. These raps that were taking, you know, stories we've heard before and making them very exotic, making them overly complex with simplistic, with topics that are simplistic. They were taking a typical cocaine tale that you could probably take you know, 40 seconds to tell the whole thing. They went in, they got shot, they ran out, somebody died. It ain't that complex. And Ray would take that, make that into a 4-minute rhyme fest, just bars, nonstop imagery, and just beautiful scenery, just exquisite storytelling. And that's where we came into this when I think Ray dropped his first joint, maybe 98. I think Ray's first solo joint came out around 98, 97, 98. I'm not sure. Then you had Ghost follow that up. Then you had just a slew of MCs just doing that those street tales. Jay-Z was one, Mike Geronimo, you had Big L, you had a lot of people going down that road, and they took that path and they ran with it. You had, born from that, you had like 50 Cent, people like that, and you had the Clipse. And in Nori, you had, you know, Left Frack Island, all that stuff. Once we got that era, that was it. That era was here. Now you went, the smooth drug dealer came after the gangster rap era. So once we moved kind of gangster rap to the side, New York took that back and made it into like some drug dealer, because it wasn't a lot of, in gangster rap, it wasn't a lot of drug dealer, it was just gangster shit. So they took it and made it into a more complex, more of a hustle, more of a get money type of thing. Before was go to a party, shoot up the party, punch niggas in the face. This is not that. This is, we're going to pretty much explain to you why we hustle, why we're doing what we do, why this is a matter of street knowledge. But it's more fancy. It's more, we're doing a lot more financially. We're doing better financially. It's about diamonds and gold and watches and how much money you can spend at the fight, and if you can even go to the fight, going to Vegas, going to Atlantic City, you know, popping bottles. This is before they was even thinking about buying restaurants and owning liquor and all. It was just about buying the liquor, because everybody was talking about Moet and Alizé and all this stuff. There was no one owned that. That was owned. No rappers owned none of that. This was the time where it was all about material stuff, but you weren't thinking about owning it. You were just thinking about buying it. That's the end steps the Clipse into that era of these, you know, drug-fueled rap verses. So I say that to say this: we enjoyed that. If you're not plugged into that, if you're not, for the most part, street people are going to gravitate to this because that's what they know. That's what they relate to. Now, you have people who weren't street people at all, who gravitated to this just as much as the street people as well. It became a phenomenon, just good rap. It's just pure rap. It's real. It's really what's happening, and people love that. That's why people love to see hard violent movies. Yeah, you're gonna root for the good guy, but you need that bad guy. You need that Scarface. You know what I'm saying? You need that. You need what's my guy's name? You need that Nino Brown, and you need that Frank White. You need that to make the good guy even worth rooting for. Because without the Nino Brown, why do you care? Why do you care? You need him to be as bad and as unrepenting and as relentless as he can be, so that you can get a good rush when he actually comes down or whatever. You need that bad guy. And rap became where the bad guy's winning, where the bad guy is the one you're rooting for. In rap, you will be hard pressed to find a good guy that you're rooting for. Like, you had a Heavy D, where he was just pure, a good guy, just want to have fun. Yeah, he can get tough with you, but it was fun. Everything was, let's go out party, let's dance, let's get with these girlies, let's go drink, you know, let's have some fun. That was a Heavy D song. A Tribe Called Quest was they was the good guys to a degree. Phife had an edge to him, a little rough edge, but at the end of the day, it was always a don't mess with me, I won't mess with you type of vibe. But as rap progressed, you had MC Ren, and then you had Scarface. You had quite a few people, Eazy-E, Ice Cube. It became the bad, hardest, the most reckless dude became the most revered. In comes a Pac. In comes a DMX. You get this. It became in the late 90s, early 2000s, it became a lawless land of just who's harder, who's tougher, who's more rough, who been to jail more. Why you think 50 Cent was sprung up and put up on a pedestal? He got shot 9 times. He was telling you, I am a drug dealer, and he got shot 9 times. That made this guy infamous. Made a lot of money off of just it became to a point where people, I think there was a case of a guy shooting himself or having his man shoot him. Was that Gravy? Was that Gravy that did that? The dude that played Biggie, he got shot in the ass or something by his homeboy. I don't know if it was him. I'm gonna have to look that up. But it became to the point you couldn't be a rapper if you weren't tough. The game had became all the bad guys were eating. All that, like, smooth, I love you, you know, I'm that type of guy. All that stuff was out the window. Even MC Hammer turned hard. You know what I'm saying? Pumps in a bump. Everybody turned hard. Everybody was tough. It became just wild, wild west out here. And you had acts like the Clipse, Onyx, things like that become the norm. I remember Will Smith called it the Dark Ages. He said the rap had went through the Dark Ages. Some of us call it the Golden Age, like the best time of rap, when it was real hard, when Pun came out, and all that era with Dory and all of that, just, it was overly cracked out. It was overly heroin. It was overly just drug-induced rap. It got to a point where it became a caricature. It became silly, where it was so many drug dealers. It became, all y'all ain't selling coke. Come on, man. Come on, bro. All y'all not selling coke. You had the Locks. You had State Property. It became, all the movies became drug dealers and fiends. Not in a good way. The fiends were always the punchline. You always had, even in Friday, movies like that, The Fiend was the punchline. The Fiend was the joke. Not like now. The Fiend is like, that's a whole nother thing right now in rap. The Fiend is the rapper now, and the customer is now the one with all the Gucci on. That's where we at with it, but that's a whole different topic. So up steps the Clipse right in the lane of this, right where Jay-Z was doing his most braggadocious songs. I went through a phase where I wasn't messing with Jay. Like, this is too much. This is a super hero drug dealer. This is not real to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't find this to be realistic at this point where you're going into the courtroom and telling the judge to kiss your ass and your lawyer. It just got ridiculous. It got silly. So real dudes from real streets started to rebuke this kind of nonsense. You could tell who was real because they would say real stuff, and you could tell who was exaggerating. With that being said, we felt like, among other MCs, the Clipse were truthful. We felt like you can hear a man's words, you can hear what he says, and you can tell if it's real. And we felt like the Clipse were those dudes, even though they perpetuated a stereotype that was becoming way too overly induced. It was still something that we felt was dope. The beats were dope. The hardest beats we had at the time were coming out of the Neptunes, Scott Storch, Dre. Primo still was doing stuff. Primo took a step back to some degree, but he still was bringing out Group Home and all that stuff like that. So it still was flowing into, it was hard stuff. Black Moon had kind of phased out, but they had began that same, you know, the Smith & Wesson, that same hard ass rah, like we just walk these streets with our Timbs, that kind of rap. Clipse carried it on to a different level, far as we're hard, but we make a lot of money and we don't want to get our shirt dirty. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not going to fight you. We're going to shoot at your man and make you run, and then we're going to go get a bottle or something. You know what I'm saying? And put big rims on our car. It was a smoother type of dynamic. So we've known the Clipse for this for years. In Steps 2018, Pusha. He's had a couple songs. He signed to Good a while ago. I believe I read that he signed in 2010. So we're talking 8 years on Good Music. He's the president. He's an artist. Was an A&R. He brought designer over there. All that good stuff like that. But he still raps. He still could rap. He still writes hard bars. He's still one of the most feared in the game. When you're talking about who not to mess with, if someone had a top 10 list, Pusha was one of them dudes you didn't want to mess with. And I don't think I've ever heard Pusha direct an entire song at one I've never heard that. I know he had a thing with Consequence, and I don't even think he directed an entire song at Consequence. He had a joint with, he had a thing with Consequence, he had a thing with Wayne and Baby and them, but they were never 3-4 minute songs of Pusha's wrath on anyone. I don't recall. It was always a line here. You go back, it's a line here, a line there, and he kept it moving. Even with Infrared, this new thing that caused this whole gigantic ruckus, Infrared is so nuanced. It is not just a Drake diss, and to label it that is misleading. It's not a Drake diss. It's a Drake. He addresses Drake with the Quentin line, and then he goes on to mad other stuff, talking about dancing. He's not gonna tap dance for the crackers, and he's not gonna sing Mammy. He's talking about Rick Ross talking to Birdman. He's talking about mad other stuff in that track. It's not 4 minutes going at Drake. He comes back to Drake, he throw another jab, walk away. It's like a dude that he got like 4 guys in a circle. He just tap one, go to the other one, jab him, go to him, jab him. Then he turns his back, start talking about some other stuff. Then he come back, jab him. It's not a direct focus of force on any one rapper. We've never seen that, and we've always assumed we didn't want to see that, because whoever was at the focal point of that wrath was going to be immediately and concisely destroyed. We've always assumed that. And I'm not going to lie, Pusha not in my top 10. I don't even know, until this album, I don't even know if he was in my top 20. I have these people that I respect for what they do. Pusha, Jadakiss, Styles P, Joel Santana. I would even go as far as to say Wyclef in it. Like, it's people, I don't know, don't laugh at the Wyclef. Don't laugh. Go back and listen to the Carnival, man. Anyway, it's these people that I have this immense respect for. It's like I have nothing bad to say, but I don't revere them as well-rounded MCs like I should. And Pusha T is at the top of that list. When I'm thinking of 20 rappers, if you sat me in a room, told me write down 20 rappers, the odds of Pusha T name coming up before this Daytona album, it would be very hard for me to put Pusha T in my top. First of all, I know so many MCs. I can name 100 MCs. But to say, just give me 20, put them in, it's so many names in there. That Pusha is just like 50. And people like that, I think that their subject matter is so focused on street mentality. It never really diverts, and it never really sways into other subject matter like a Andre 3000 or a KRS-One or an Ice Cube. Like, all of these people will, you give them 16 songs, that album, and Common, that album is going to be one side of the rainbow all the way to the other. It's going to be so experimental. It's going to be so eclectic. It's going to have so much, like I said, with like a Wyclef. It's not for his bars. His music would be whatever. Just like a Cannabis, which I can't really say. Cannabis body of work is so small. His window's so small of quality. Yeah, he made mad albums after the first one. A lot of low budget, a lot of signings to people he shouldn't have signed to, and he made a lot of music that no one here heard. But there's a certain type of MC that you got to bring their name up. You got to bring their name. Oh yeah, Pusha, that dude's nice. Certain type of MCs that I'm gonna gravitate to mentally when I start naming my top 20. Pusha, regrettably, before Daytona, was never in there. Ray was in there. I would put Ghost in there. Just, it never was Pusha. I would always find his work very similar to the last work. Just like Joe Budden. I would find a lot of Joe Budden work similar to the last Joe Budden, melancholy, like something is either one or the other. It's either very reflective or hyper aggressive MCing, which I like both of those. But end of the day, Joe, you didn't want to mess with Joe lyrically. He gave Drake 4 you know what I'm saying, 4 complete gut punches, but the gut punches don't matter if the guy doesn't even acknowledge that you even threw him. But that's a whole, I digress. Button is nice, just like Pusha T. But before this Daytona, maybe Button will have that album that I'm like, oh my God, every song. But until then, this Daytona, and mind you, I didn't get into Kanye's politics, but when Kanye gives you, he puts his all of his energy on you as an artist, and he goes in his bag of them beats, of them soul samples, you are not going to walk away with anything less than an almost classic or a classic. Common's B album is a classic. No one, well, I'm gonna say no one, put it like this. A lot of people don't remember when Common was considered washed. After Electric Circus, Common was washed. He had a couple suspect singles, and he was here, there, everywhere. He started messing with Erykah Badu, started dressing weird and making this nonsense of this electric slide boogie woogie bullshit. And we know Common is nice, so therefore we were very, very surprised to see what had happened to Common. Rumors started to come out that not only was Ye going to sign Common, but Ye was going to executive produce or produce sonically every song on Common's new comeback album. Believe it or not, this album was do or die for Common. It was literally, if he came bang rocking with Kanye beats, Common is washed. Long story short, he murdered every beat. He made a classic album. B will go down as one of the best hip-hop albums ever created. I don't know what you think. I don't care. If you don't think B is a classic, we don't really have much else to talk about. So, with that being said, we know that if Kanye puts all of his sights on you, gives you 2, 3, 4 weeks of his time, and he goes in those crates and gets those samples and gets those feelings of that 90s era. We already said that 1988 to 1998, that era, that sound, if he can sonically create that moment in time for you, 7 songs, 10 songs, 13 songs, you're probably going to walk away with something many consider a classic. And that is what happened with this Daytona album. I don't know if you heard it. I'm sure you heard it. I don't know if you heard it and felt it was instant classic. I know Diddy had tweeted instant classic. I hadn't even heard it yet. And Diddy was already tweeting that it's a classic. I was like, oh, yeah, word? Okay, we're going to see about that. I wanted to hear it in my car with everything ready to go. So I put it in. It started off. It was kind of, I was like, just some highs, huh? He starts off with like an acapella verse with just some highs. So you can't say it's an acapella with it got highs in it, but it's just like he got that going, and the flow's kind of off and quirky. I was like, uh-oh, I don't know, where are we going with this? Needless to say, it didn't stay that way. So I wanna discuss the Drake situation, because are we going to, now you've been watching everything just like me. Some people feel like Drake's response, Duppy freestyle, obliterated Pusha T. Let's put it in context now. Pusha T dropped what many of us, and yes, soon, we decided, day one, within less than 20 hours, I want to say within the first 8 hours, that thing was called a classic, which is unheard of. All right? Let's just say that. Calling an album a classic in the first 8 hours, and I've done that, but I've never been wrong. I've never been wrong about a classic. Even if you got a person that don't like Tribe Called Quest's last album, or you got a person who don't like 444, you gotta understand there is not many people calling it trash. So I would venture to say, if you could go onto Twitter and do the numbers, do the logistics, put all of those tweets and single them out and say who was saying 444 was classic and who was saying it was trash, I'm going to go with at least 70-80% was rocking with that album. Just like Tribe's album. I want to say 90-10 Tribe was getting love for that album. So I was saying those was classics. And then I don't really say stuff is classic a lot, but we've had an era where a lot of classic stuff has been dropped, believe it or not. And I know people take an issue with that. They want to say this is one of the wackest eras in hip-hop. This is by far one of the best eras in hip-hop. You can say what you want. Yes, there's a lot of pink hair, a lot of skinny jeans, but ignore that. Ignore that, bro. Like, if you're not into that, for every single skinny jean mumble rapper, there's another dude that's nice. 2 or 3 more if you're looking for that. I don't want to hear no more about mumble rap is destroying. Bro, we had Milli Vanilli, bro. They was rapping. Go back and listen to it. I don't care what you say. We had Milli Vanilli rapping. What are you going to tell me about that? What's worse now than that? I will wait. What's worse than Milli Vanilli, bro? We can put it side by side. You can go get your little Pump video, and I'm gonna put Milli Vanilli. You can go get your little Uzi, I'm gonna put Milli Vanilli. You're not gonna get nothing worse than that. New Kids on the Block started rapping, bro. Let's move on. So, we're in a great era of hip-hop. We had some of the best beefs. You gotta remember, when we had beefs back in the day, they were so dragged out. They were so few and far between. When you talk about hip-hop beef, you're gonna name 5 really strong beefs, tops. Do you know how far in between those beefs were? Do you know how far in between LL battled Ice-T, Ice Cube battled NWA, Cannabis battled LL, KRS battled MC Shan? You're talking years apart. You're going to have to go through 15 years, 16, 20 years. You're going to come up with 5 beefs. 5 classic beefs. Now, you can find 50 of them. Half that is trash. You got a good, in the total of 20 years, you're probably going to have a total in 20 years. You're not going to be able to give me 20 strong beefs. You're going to say Jay-Z versus Nas. You're going to say Scarface versus whoever. You're going to say Pac versus Big. And at the end of the day, you ain't going to have more than 10. You're going to have more than 10 classic battles. We have just witnessed, in the past couple years, Drake versus Meek, Pusha versus Drake. What's the other beefs? Remy versus Nicki. We've had some dope beefs, bro. We've had some dope beefs. And we've had J. Cole air out dudes without even trying. We've had Kendrick. The Control verse was against the entire rap industry, and no one came back strong enough to dispute the shit. And the only people that we cared about was was J. Cole and Drake responding. I don't think Drake ever responded. No one asked Big Sean to respond. You was on the record. You on the record. It's your record. What are you responding for 3 years later? Anyway, we've had some amazing hip hop right now. And I say that to say this. This album is classic, in my opinion. Now, very few people, especially Drake fans, this thing has been lined up on party lines. This is the most political rap beef, I think, since Jay and Nas. If you mess with Pusha, then you rocked with Pusha. And this album is classic. If you mess with Drake, Drake washed him in 24 hours and he killed his career. Point blank. If you're objective like me, I'm going to tell you both songs was dope. I'm going to tell you Infrared is amazing. I'm going to tell you that song is flawless. And then I'm going to tell you, at the end of the day, Drake response was dope. Because simple fact, you've been mushing this dude head for a couple years. And this dude haven't said nothing. Ain't said nothing really. Yeah, two birds with one stone. He had a line or two. That's like when the bully ain't in the room, you say something and then you go back to doing your work. That's not rough or tough. This right here, whether you like Drake or not, you ain't see this coming. You didn't see this coming. If somebody would have bet you money, you would have took a bet. You would have took a bet that Drake wasn't going to respond. You would have took that money. You would have took, they've been like, that's easy money. Drake ain't going to respond at all. He going to wait 2 years. He going to be singing on it and say something corny in 2 years. You didn't say in your mind, within 8 hours of this dropping, this dude going to have a song out going at this dude and Ye. You wasn't thinking that. So by the mere fact that this dude came off, it's like the bully mushed him, walked away, went to the lunch line to get a milk. And by the time he put his hand on the milk, this kid, the nerd that he just mushed, came and hit him with 40 body shots and a shot to the head. Bop, 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 bop. And he staggered. Everyone in the lunchroom laughing. Everyone's like, what you gonna do? This is what happened, bro. This dude hit him with 20 body shots. You didn't see this coming. That's what makes it dope. The beat is not whack. His verses is not whack. People talking about the quality or the simplicity of what he's saying. That's what a battle is. You're going to keep it simple so even the dummies could get it. This dude is playing chess right now. You didn't see this attack coming. This dude took almost all of the shine from Daytona. What are we talking about right now? We're talking about Duppy. What does Duppy mean? Who's Virginia Williams? We're not even talking about the classic album of Daytona. Not even talking about that. Only people talking about that is the fans of Pusha. We talking about if Drake killed his career, or Drake is whack, or it's trash. We talking about, and you gotta understand, just for that, this guy has changed hip hop forever. Just for that, just for coming back at him. So now Pusha got, some say 48 hours, 72 hours. As of the time of this recording, Pusha T has not responded. So what are we going to say about that? In the history of hip hop, is that where it's at now? First of all, Pusha took a year to respond to the first jab he took at him on Two Birds with One Stone. I think he took like a year. And I'm gonna keep it real. I have such a high respect for Pusha T. But when Drake came with the lines about you act like your Escobar or whatever he said in the first song, before this song. And then they asked Pusha in an interview, I think it was Breakfast Club, they were like, what do you got to say about Drake saying that your drug dealing raps are exaggerations, you're not whatever. He's like, man, he's not talking about me. Everyone knew he was talking about Pusha. Everyone knew that. It wasn't no mystery. And when Pusha tried to say, I'm not even going to acknowledge that because he can't be talking about me, a little chip came off the armor with me. A little chip came off the armor. I was like, bro, you cannot be serious right now. Everybody been saying if he ever say one word to Pusha, Pusha gonna murder that. And he said 2 words to Pusha, and Pusha said he's not talking to me. No, bro. He's talking to you. He's talking to you. And when you said that, it kind of, a little of the shine came off, the buff. But I said that to say this. He came back with this infrared, which I didn't even, I heard infrared before I was told how dope he dissed Drake. I was like, I heard the lines and I was like, oh, that's crazy. By the time the internet got it, it's like the entire song was a savage slicing. There's still dudes in the comments saying he bodied Drake. He bodied Drake. I disagree. Infrared is flawless. It's dope. By no means. You said, like Nas, it was written, but by Quentin, which is, that's dope. To body this man right now at this point in time, the Quentin thing, not gonna body him. That's a great line. It's a great song. Infrared. Like I'll definitely repeat it again for these dudes who are these big time fans of Pusha. I'm not saying the song is not dope, and I'm not saying he didn't get him. He got him. He got him. He hit him with 3-4 lines in that entire song. I'll count that for you. It's easily 3 or 4 lines directed at Drake, tops. If I'm wrong, you tell me in the comments. That's it. This dude Drake came back. He stole on you and your man. You know what I'm saying? This the light-skinned dude stole on 2 dark-skinned dudes. Bop, bop. What? He not only stole on y'all, he kicked you in your ass and spit at you. This is what I don't understand with these dudes in the comments. They're like, okay, that ain't even, now it's round 1. It been round 1 when you've been mushing this dude for 3 years. You've been mushing this dude for 3-4 years. Mushing him and Wayne. No one replied. Now you got a whole song at you. Round 1 over. Now you've been mushing him. He responded. Now this round 1 is over. Now you got to start up round 2. This is where we at with this. Daytona's classic, but no one's talking about that. Now we've moved on. In less than 24 hours, it's about Pusha's response. I'm going to review the album. Don't get me wrong. The album is fantastic, but hip hop, the stories still have to be written. This is where Meek went wrong. 2 things he didn't anticipate. First of all, he thought the dude was too soft to respond. That's the first mistake he made. He thought the dude was too soft to respond. The second mistake he made was trying to respond too quickly from internet pressure, and he wasn't ready. In the response, I don't even remember the name of the song he made. Don't remember what he said. Because by the time he dropped back-to-back, it took 2 years to recover from that. By the time he came back, it was already too late. And he rushed the response, and he made it even worse. Pusha cannot do that. You cannot do that. You can't rush the response. You can't come back with some subpar Quentin lines. This is not going to work. You say that again, it's over. You lost. You lost. If you come back with a whole bunch of stuff about Quentin Miller, who ain't worked with this dude in 2 or 3 years, you're going to lose. We need more. We need more than that. Just like Nicki lost immediately. She had already lost when this girl dropped Sheether. When Remy dropped Sheether, Nicki was on the ropes. It was bad. It was bad. But when she didn't respond at all, got in her feelings, and waited, and let the internet decide, she lost. Then she came back with 3 songs trying to make commercial success like Drake did with Back to Back. What she don't understand was Back to Back was a legit diss record that had commercial success, but it wasn't meant to be commercial. It was meant to be a diss. She came back with a couple lines at Remy way too late on a commercial release. That's not, it don't work like that no more. People try to be like, oh, Nas took 6 months to respond to Jay. That shit was like 1996. No. Was it 2000? Whatever year it was. You're talking a lifetime ago, bro. You're talking a lifetime ago. I don't even remember what year all that happened. I know Takeover came out in 01. But that beef was cooking up for like 5 years. Takeover came out in 01. Nas didn't bring out Stillmatic. What year was that? 2002? I don't know. Whatever. But that's a different era, bro. And that's Nas. Nas was going through some stuff. We waited on that. We was good waiting on that. We debated that for 6 months, however long it took, 9 months. We debated that, I'll tell you what, it saved his career. Because if Nas didn't come back with Ether, anything short of Ether, Nas was done. I promise you. Nas was already done. Jay actually attacked a wounded animal at the time, which was a mistake, but he had to. It was for the culture. Got chopped the king head off. That's what Nas said. You had to defeat the king to become the king. And we ended up seeing Jay turn around and become the wounded animal with that. What's that when he rapped over the ball and beat? I can't remember the name of the song. But when he came back, he's talking about skeeting on the baby car seat and all that. That's when we saw a weakness of Jay. Jay should not even responded to Ether. He rushed out a response. It was subpar. And I was already saying he had won, and then he dropped that response, and it was hard to defend it. So this is where we at. Pusha got to respond to this. Drake actually became the bully. This dude went from being in the band to the high school quarterback right now. Now we got to see what the bully that go out back and drink Miller Lite or whatever, or smoke Marlboros, that's so tough he don't even go to class, he just got beat up. Now we're going to see what he do tomorrow in school. Just where we at with this. Pusha, we got to see bars. So, with that being said, I'm not even going to get into Kanye's political nonsense. I'm not even going to get into that. That's why. I'll do that on another show, another time. So I'm gonna review this album, Daytona, produced in full by Kanye West. This is a soundtrack for drug dealers. Let's start there. If you don't know about drug dealing in the 80s and the 90s, I'm not saying you have to. I'm not saying you have to, but you will miss some of these references. You will miss some of these references, and I'm gonna talk about some of them as we go through this song listing, the track listing. So, first song, If You Know, You Know. Right there, that tell you, either you know what I'm talking about or you don't. This dude said, we buying tennis balls for the wrong sport. If you know, you know. I know. Because my brother used to put Coke in the tennis balls, put the tennis balls back in the container of the tennis ball, put 3 tennis balls, put the tennis ball in a bag with some rackets and some shoes, zip that bag up, throw it in the back, and act like he was going to play tennis if he ever got pulled over. If you know, you know. That's what I'm talking about. So, either you know or you don't. I predict snow like Al Roker. You're not talking about snow. We're talking about cocaine. If you know, you know. So, if you're not in the mindset of pure street, this is why Charlamagne likes this album so much, because this reminds him of the 80s. It reminds me of the 90s when it was all about hustling. This was real. This ain't for a rap fan, bro. You can't just be a rap fan to enjoy this album, because you're looking for rap. This is real. This is a dude that has mastered both. He's mastered both. And there is no weakness in his flows. There is no questionable subject matter. If you know, you know that this is real. Where were you when Big Meech brought the tigers in? You know what I'm saying? Big Meech had a party at a club and he brought in some tigers and some elephants in a club. It is what it is. If you know, you know. It's very Kanye, keyboard sense, a Jamaican vibe. It just make you want to hustle. It's sad to say, and we don't condone that, but that's what life is. When you in these situations, it's not pretty, but it is what it is. Next song, The Games We Play. It's very RZA, very Ray. It's exquisite drug talk. It's like if you took a rich, let's say a socialite who was born into money, millions of dollars, and the finer things are. He goes downstairs and he just has Andy Warhol's and all kind of paintings on his wall. He has 50-year-old wine on the wine rack, and he just has gold everything and vases and fantastic scenery, a sauna, a pool. You take that same guy and make him a drug dealer that came from the inner city who didn't have nothing. Combine a socialite with a drug dealer who's very materialistic and he just started to get these things. And he could be very like eloquent with talking about these two worlds. This is what he does. Very eloquently speaking about the nuances of drug dealing and rapping about this lifestyle. If you don't like it, it ain't gonna mean nothing to you. If you don't think selling coke in the 90s was dope, then that means nothing to you. No, it wasn't dope, but it's what happened. And so this is unapologetic, and this is what it is. This dude says, I'm your ghost and you're Ray. This is your purple tape. Yeah. This dude said, I'm your Ray and your ghost. This your purple tape. You gotta understand what that means. To even make that claim is disrespectful. To say your music you're making is the purple tape. You just disrespected the entire 90s. But it's so dope. And it's so real. This is the purple tape. This is the quality of the purple tape. You know how many dudes was hustling while they listened to the purple tape? At that time? That's like holding up a baby angel right now. Right now, it's like to have the purple tape is like holding up a baby. It probably glow. It probably glow. If you pull that out and just hold it up, it'll glow. It'll shine. The brightness. It'll blind you. That's how we revere that tape. Raekwon. It ain't the real name of it. It ain't not the purple tape. Only built for Cuban links. We call it the purple tape because the tape was purple. And this dude says, I am your ghost and Ray. And this is the purple tape. And as you're listening, you can't dispute it. This is the purple tape for 2018. This is genius work, bro. This is Valhalla, bro. There is no comparison with what this dude is doing. These beats, and this is the only song, The Games We Play, is the only, when it first came on, I was like, I don't know, we could take a slump. But I listened to it, by the second time I listened to it, I was convinced it's bang. It was the only questionable song to me on the album. And by the third time I played it, I was like, oh, I turned it up and I was like, oh no, this is ridiculous. So 1 and 2. Then we went to number 3. Hard Piano featuring Rick Ross. I saw Questlove tweeting about this. How Hard Piano, and I hadn't even heard Hard Piano yet. I heard him tweeting how he was listening to Hard Piano, and it was crazy. I can't quite recall the original piano. That's a sample from, I believe, a rapper back in the late 80s. I think his name was YZ. I think this is the sample he used. He's not the only one. There's been a couple people that used this sample. But Kanye took the sample, chopped it up, made it new, like he does. And Rick Ross sounds like he belongs on this. It's a dope combination. This is dope dealer music. It's drug boy music. If you're not by the third song, you already cut it off and went back to listening to some Lil Pump or something. Like, if you're not into this, you went and probably cut back on Justin Bieber or something else. You didn't even get to the 4th song, Come Back Baby. But I got to the 4th song, Come Back Baby. A braggadocious, it's like a heavy 80s 808. This dude is in his bag. It's very Oakland Bay Area to me. It has a dope soul sample as the hook, as Kanye often does. Wrist for wrist, let's have a glow off. Just like jewelry. It's just like what we expect. If Big L was live, you would be getting this kind of rap. Next song, Santeria. Come on, bro. Go get your favorite rapper. Go get him. Go get whatever tape you want to match with this song, that you want to match with this album, and I'll listen to that shit. I'll listen to it. Please spare me the nonsense of trying to actually compare this to the garbage of anyone else, good or bad. This Santeria is a breath of life, bro. This is the human touch. This is what we live for if we're hip hop head. This is like you're in a mansion somewhere with a chick at the bottom just singing. You're upstairs like Scarface, just looking at everything you own, like you're just surveying your riches, and she's at the bottom just singing. Like, just this is life. You're looking over fields of grapes, your winery. Like, this is rich music, bro, and it's beautiful. It's dark, it's hard, it's eerie, it's melodic. This is what we do this for. Rappers these days don't even grasp the level of artistry that this man has achieved. These two dudes, and yes, Kanye is a buffoon right now, a literal buffoon, but he still got that ear for this music. And this Santeria, this is Hail Mary full of grace. This is your prayers at night answered. These are, I don't even know what to say, bro. I just said everything I could say. This is 5 songs in, and you can't ask for better. You can't ask for better quality. You can't. Next song, What Would Meek Do, featuring Kanye. Whoop, whoopie doop. Oh man, this is another sample that was used in like the 80s, the 90s. Yeah, so this is dope. I don't remember who used it before, but it was used back then. My phone getting low. Let me charge this before this thing runs out on me, and then I'm gonna be real mad. It was used back then. I don't remember what rapper used it. I think this may have been Down with the King. Run DMC's Down with the King. And this is a different part of that same sample. I'm not sure. But what would Meek do? I like it. I like it. I don't know when it took a turn that where now Meek is this iconic godlike figure. 2 years ago, he was a laughing stock of hip hop, taking L's every fucking day, and now it's what would Meek do? But it works. Believe it or not, I don't know why, but this works. This is good music. Good music. I mean, I ain't trying to be cliche. 6 songs in, I ain't heard nothing whack. You let me know. Last song, Infrared. This is one of the most complete rap songs ever. He touches on everything. To me, he got the Drake disses, the Baby disses, Lil Wayne disses. That's great. But he also talks about Will Smith winning the Grammy, how they did him. Didn't want to show it on TV. They had to boycott the Grammys. They wasn't going to show the rap. They wasn't going to show the rap Grammy on TV. Process that, bro. Jay boycotted the Grammys. Like, he's talking about a lot of stuff. The only rapper sold more dope than me was Eazy-E. If you ain't put your hand over your face when he said that, you probably don't know who Eazy-E is. Or you don't care. Classic. A++++++. 5. That's the equivalent of a 5-star Source Magazine classic rating. The classic. If you disagree, that's fine. You can meet me in the comments. We'll talk about it. It's classic. Kanye, even though he's a bubblehead right now, I physically want to fight. This dude, reluctantly I listen to it because I don't want to listen to this stuff from Kanye right now. It's a classic. Classic. Please, Pusha, do not let this Drake stuff distract you. Make your record or don't make your record. At this point, the battle is what it is. Just like when Mace came back, of all them years of taking them little jabs from Cam is thinking it's a joke. Cam using Mace to eat, just making these little records and dissing Mace. Once again, Cam dissed Mace, and Mace came back with a baseball bat. Hit him in the head, the ankle, the back, the butt, the side, the arm. He beat the boy so bad, he didn't know what happened to him. He didn't know who hit him. That's what just happened. So we're going to see what happens. Please don't come back weak like Cameron did, because Cameron lost completely. Completely. It's embarrassing. So we don't want to see that happen to you, Pusha. Come back with, which I know he's a thinking man. He's going to come back with some amazing stuff. But come back strong, bro. My name is Chuck with Eels, a.k.a. Charles Brown. Like the video, don't like the video. Make sure you subscribe either way. And make sure you go to Audio Liquor. We got other reviews over there. I think Dale just did J. Cole. He does movies and all that good stuff. We got more stuff planned. I know I said this before. More shows coming for audioliquor.com. We got the Twitter, but we really do got more stuff coming. I'll see you soon. Peace.